I kind of engineering some people. So this question.
You don't explain.
First of all, thank you for joining us tonight. Spring State, we're back to give an update on our watershed project. And you all know we are at the planning stage. And certain step that we got problems need the watershed management. So, hold your question, we'll be able to get at the end. We got to push it on the side that you wanted to go on presentation. So we'll get right into it. So, purpose of this public meeting is three components to provide, discuss, and inform. As I stated, we provided information and got information on the public. We're here to discuss the alternative, and also we're here to share with you what strategies that we have developed in developing these alternatives. Background to the project, if you all recall, this kicked off and started in September. This time I didn't say, but it was introduced to you to this practice, develop together, to satisfy or solve some of the drainage issues that are in this area, particularly the watershed, in the watershed area. There are components of this plan that we're doing right now, says, and what it is. A lot of people ask, what is a EA? And this is a kind of real high level of what an EA is. It identifies potential projects to address local function and projects based on three components: technical feasibility, economic feasibility, and environmental feasibility. Part of the technical part we're doing right now is done, high-level planning. You will see these alternatives that addresses drainage and flooding issues in various areas of the watershed. Now, does it address every area of flooding and drainage in the watershed? It does not. But we have a strong metric system that these projects are related on that we'll be moving later and get insights. Plan process. This first step we've already done. Started with HIFR. There was a HIFR done at the bottom of these three watersheds at the bottom of the rivers. And then we use that information for us. This is where we're at today. We're on the ACE design time. And so we have a deliverable that's in 2 weeks. So we're heavily doing that right now. There's most of our students on that aspect of the project right now. But just to give you a overview of the outreach that we've done. We had an early public awareness outreach. So close to about 80 days. They were on the south the summer. So we got a year, almost a year. We have public spoken meeting in November. Helena-West and later. And then we had another public meeting to review the possible alternatives. We had the first meeting made second today. Then we're going to be back again. I think September 3 days. We'll be back again to talk about finding that time we will have to these cases, so that we were actually designing, we're going to design this restricted plan. So the next three parts of this project, phase 3 is design, phase 4 is construction. And so we also got to do that time. We're going to get start with seals in the lab watching this process. Yeah. We've been getting feedback and comments hey, we want these guys,
Facebook Live.
we don't start serious trust. We see for a long way. We have to select the project first. So, just be patient with the process thing. Find or looking at things and make sure that it's all sufficient to hold and get the most bang for that for the most bang for the time. Now, project benefits stuff. So in this particular, this is all our sheets together. But lately, the benefits of what we all look at. We have up to 244 structures that helps with managing water, remediating drainage. We have up to 400 acres removed from the floodplain. Our project water quality, but it's really very simple. We developed many surveys and also the GIS analysis created. Some grass city wasn't able to get part of the thing, part of the food process. And so this story map at the bottom, the link is not active right now in terms of the screen, but it's active on our website. It's a great story map that gives you a history of where we be, the data pretty much gives a student or other. So if you have time, go to the website and visit that. And if you need a there's also later. So in our project right now, we have things broken up into tiers. We're giving expectations tier size. The tier classification is under the classes. No, that's it's one tier six. Under the practices for further taking analysis, economic feasibility.
Change.
And end up evaluation. I'm going over data on the side of Tier 2 was private provided a model.
Is that better? Yes.
It's Tier 3 private provided no. It's also but take this note as we progress to the
system used in our upcoming meetings in September. Now, project tier evaluation. I don't know if you can see this good, but this goes back to the economics and the feasibility of it and the ranking. Each of the projects has to go through a process to get a number of where this project scores. Like you say, it's different categories. Here on the left-hand side, you can see the critical infrastructure flooding. Where does it rank? There's a number attributed to that: property flooding, street flooding, structure and property erosion. It's hard to explain this now graphically, but we're going through this to rank these projects that we develop with. They come with a number, and that's how we determine where they will be ranked from a tier system. And also to note, at the end, when we take questions, we do have a separate board for that. If we want to dive a little bit deeper into math and understand it, we're more than willing to help you go through that as well. Now, what does an alternative location mean? Because you hear that term, okay, this alternative, we have 4 alternatives. What does that mean? It's a recommended project location. It's based on a scoring rubric that we just talked about to take in consideration public feedback, level of flooding impacts, and severity of flooding, including frequency and generalized level of flooding protection. One of the things that helped us get to this place was the feedback that we received on our initial outreach meeting. And that drove a lot of the projects that we looked into, because part of the process that we have to take in consideration public feedback. So the videos, pictures, statements helped us get to this point, and we appreciate that. And today we still want to get information from you as well.
And also just to support what Keith just stated with the feedback, on the next slides, I'm gonna have an opportunity to speak to you guys about what these alternatives are. Most recently in the Big Big Lake Watershed, there are a total of 8 alternatives that we have come to design some solutions for to improve that area. What we are going to talk about is maybe 4 or 5 of them, but we also have them displayed out on the table and a representation on the board. So our hope is that after the presentation is over with, if there's any constant communication or anything else that you guys want to share or take a look at, that you will also kind of meet us over there, and we'll be available to answer any additional questions. So Keith, we moving on to the actual
Okay, all right.
locations now.
All right, and as Julius mentioned, our table will be right here at the end of sitting and visiting with you along with the board. So I'm gonna turn it over to Julius. So Julius, he's one of my executives at the firm, but he's also he's been one of the modelers for this program. So he's been involved in the technical aspect. And I also have 2 of my other team members here, Talisha and Blake, raise your hand. And we got Ambrose in the back. And also just to talk about our team, when we took this project, because it's a PL 566 watershed project, we had to build a team with various subject matter experts that can deliver this project. So we have a strategic partnership with a firm called Olson Engineers. And the reason we partner with them is because at the time this project started, they had, I think, 5 to 7 active PL 566 watershed projects under their belt that they were working on in various stages of delivery. All that to say that it is really a team that's working to go through this process and making sure that we follow the manual and we follow the comments that we're getting back from the community and leadership to make sure we provide the best product possible. So I'm gonna turn it over to Julius now to go deeper into the projects.
All right. Well, this slide just shows kind of the watershed that our team is currently working on. As it was stated earlier, we share a watershed with Kelly and Key Construction. So once she comes up, she will also provide information about the additional watershed. But this is outlining where most of our investigation has been. Also, for your viewing pleasure, and also on the screen, we've broken down those 8 alternatives that I previously mentioned. It's also on one of the boards here that actually gives a brief description of the work that we're going to talk about, along with the estimated cost and the tier structure that Keith mentioned from selecting which ones we would move forward with. So the first project I wanted to talk in more detail with, and I'll kind of use this, let's see what this laser pointer work. Can you see that? Okay, cool. Again, I'm not going to talk about all 8. I'm just kind of, so when you get a chance to look at the map, and all 8 are actually on the table to discuss as well, but just kind of give you some information to kind of see how we're outlining this. But this project is off of Highway 85. The improvements that we are having here, we know that this was a relatively new highway put in this area, and it's causing some flooding for a lot of the farmlands in the area. So the proposal here is to extend the culvert box. The one that it has now, I think it's under 100 feet. But we're going to extend it to about 175 feet and increase the profile of the current road. For some reason, when RDOT put the road in, it has a sag in it, and that's where all the water is being collected. So this improvement is estimated to cost about $7 million, mainly because of dealing with the infrastructure of the road and improving those conditions with the box culvert. So that's that one here. The next area, it's close to the airport road, stormwater management, stormwater improvements. What we are going to do in this area, and mostly all the conditions that we saw where it was heavy flooding, it was 1, a clearing and grubbing situation, meaning cleaning out the ditches, expanding some of the ditches to hold more water, and then also adding some new culverts for constant flow. But in this area, we were going to remove or replace some of the driveways that were here because the driveways were designed at a low sag, so it was collecting a lot of water, and add some more culverts so that we can continue to flow from the existing ditches. And then actually widening the channel. I think the channel was maybe 20 to 30 feet wide. We're estimating to widen it to about 60 feet wide to give us more capacity. So that should improve the area of constant flow there and prevent some of the flooding that's on that road. And that cost, because it was a lot of earthwork, not as much concrete, it was a lot, you can see it's tremendously less. So roughly about 40,000. The Rondo Road improvements. For this one, we're actually, give me a second here. Okay, here was, if you can see my pen, I didn't give this information here, but the blue, when you see, represents a ditch. If you see a dashed blue line, that represents a culvert or storm drainage system. And then, of course, if you see some red dots, that would be inlets or junction boxes that we're proposing to kind of capture the water. The Rondo Street improvement really, it needed some upsizing on their culverts. The current culverts are undersized for the amount of water going into there, and then also increasing some of the ditch capacity sizes. So it's really, and again, cleaning the ditch. So it's more so a capacity. I think it's functioning pretty well. It's just undersized. So that's why you got a lot of flow going in and out. So those improvements, as you see, it's on the northeastern and southwestern side of Rondo Road. And then it actually outfalls into the ditch here. That one was roughly 1.7 mil. Okay, we call this one Helena-West Storm Water Improvements. We'll start on the upstream side and get to where we're going to, but I think this is, I know this is 4th Street. I think this is 10th Street. Yeah. So again, remember I said the red dots are where we're proposing to put inlets. So it's pretty flat from the information that we have here. So what we're proposing is really putting a new system in off of 10th Street and adding inlets at roughly each intersection, going from east to west. And then we're going to turn on 4th Street with the same type of structure. 4th Street had a lot of current ditches in there that were full with a lot of grass and trees and things like that. But it also had a system as well that we need to improve. So again, the light blue is where we're going to put piping. And then the dark blue, or you'll see, that's where we're adding some ditch and widening the ditches a little bit, and then also cleaning them out. The good thing about this is as we continue to go northbound, we're proposing a detention/retention pond in this area. So that's where we would outfall the water. And the intention on it is just not to have a big body of water just sitting there for a pond. It can be multi-purpose, depending on once we get to the engineering design, where they can make it a pond for the community, do some kind of waterscaping around there to improve that area. But from an engineering perspective, we just need somewhere to outfall the water where it's getting it off the streets. And then the final one that I'll walk through and show you is, we call this one Lincoln Court improvements. I think Lincoln Court Street is roughly around here. But with Lincoln Court, it's a lot of things we're doing here, but essentially it's putting in upsized culverts. I mean, you'll see a lot of numbers here. They represent what size we're going to put, whether it be 42-inch culverts, 36-inch culverts. But what we're showing here is it's a huge conveyance problem. So by increasing the culverts and also increasing the ditches, it gives us areas where we can hold the water longer. We have a larger capacity. We're going to go up under the road with some additional RCP or culvert pipes. and just continue along this pathway of natural flow with culverts and ditches till we outfall in this current creek area. So we don't need to do a detention in this area. We just need to make sure that it makes it to its designated location because it's plenty of capacity in this area here. So again, as I stated, we have 8 solutions that we'll be moving forward with and trying to nail down which ones kind of fall within the cap and the things sort. But the good thing about it is all our solutions are being done to the same level of effort. So if there's 4, if there's 2, or if there's, one project that we pick, we've taken all of the solutions to an area where when some additional funding will come or additional resources or plan comes, it's ready to go. So with that, and this is based on a lot of geoscience references, floodplain analysis, but first and foremost, it was based on the information that we got from current residents, because those are the residents those are the areas that we looked at first to see, okay, it's a problem here. That's where we kind of use the math and the science to figure out some solutions. So what we're hoping is that we're hitting all the areas. If there's some areas that you personally know of that have an impact, we'd like to know those areas to see if that can be incorporated in here with the time frame that we have. And then I just appreciate you guys kind of listening through here. So if you got any questions, like we said, we'll be set up over here after the meeting and we can go through any questions you may.
I'm gonna touch on this before Kelly comes on board to share. And Kelly, this impacts her too. Part of our strategy too is that we had to look at things that don't also include pipes and drainage structures and things of that nature. What are some potential non-structural strategies that we're looking at? And these are a list of those examples. I mean, you see one that may be, updating department codes, voluntary buyout. We don't have any voluntary buyouts as of now in our projects, but these are examples of non-structural things that we can do to help remediate flooding and drainage issues in your communities.
So you can introduce Kelly while I change slides.
So I want to introduce you to Kelly, president of Key Concrete and Construction, and she's going to cover her portion of the Watershed project.
Appreciate it.
Like, yeah, wherever you're comfortable. Yeah.
Hello, I'm Kelly Eubanks, Key Concrete and Construction, and I'm really glad that you all have turned out to hear the alternatives that we've worked through. We go back
Sorry.
to the next slide. Okay, no problem. So along with Key Concrete and Construction, FTN is the lead technical support on this team, and they are not able to be here in person today, but we do have the lead modeler that is joining us remotely. We want to thank the Arkansas Black Mayors Association and the NRCS for sponsoring these projects. Go to the next one and the next one. Okay, and the next one. So recap, I want to start with just reviewing the last time we were in front of you, which was May 21st. We talked about modeling. We talked about the data that we had collected from you over the months that we've been working with you. We simulated the flow of water in and out of the city limits. We talked to you about what we were finding. We talked briefly about the alternatives. And so today, what I'll be going into in greater detail is what those alternatives actually are. I see Miss Tammy, you're here from Helena Crossing. Pastor Robinson was here last time. And so we'll be able to, I know you've got specific questions. We're gonna address those questions, but we'll talk about 3 main areas. The first one is Helena, West Helena, within the city limits. We'll talk about a lane. We'll talk about Helena Crossing. And we'll talk about why systems are important. And when I say systems, we are proposing works of improvement within the city limits. But what happens when you move the water out of the city limits? It has to go somewhere. And so because of that, we spent time with the county judge. We spent time with your justice of the peace to make sure that there's an understanding that that water has to flow out of the city and that we need the county's support in order for these systems to be effective. This is just a slide that shows you the proximity between the Long Lake Bayou, Little B Bayou watershed and the Lick Creek, Big Creek watershed. There was some confusion at times among residents of which watershed am I located in? And if you're still wondering which one you're located in, one of us will be able to help you tonight. Keith has already talked to you about his team being here and the resources to help you locate or to discuss the alternatives. We also will stay afterwards. There's some maps that are out front that talk through some of these alternatives so that you'll have a good understanding of what will impact the area that you reside in. This is just to remind you of the communities that are included in the Long Lake Bayou, Little B Bayou watershed. Okay, next. Next one. Alternatives. This is a little bit difficult to read on this slide, but what I want to convey from this slide is we started out looking at, okay, what can we do to start to pull down water depths and reduce structural damage? And what you're seeing here is through these alternatives, they all include clearing and grubbing ditches. That's a big deal because whether you're talking inside the city limits or you're talking outside the city limits, when you have channels that are clogged, water doesn't have a means of flowing. We have installing new and larger culverts. We looked at subsurface drainage. So think about how your city is constructed. You have open ditches on one side of your city, and you have some subsurface drainage on the other side. We looked at this as an opportunity not just to clean out the ditches, but what is a better way of bringing down those water depths, a better way of reducing structural damage. We looked at building a berm and installing a pump. And Ms. Tammy, that is directly related to the Helena crossing area. Putting a pump there will allow that water. You talked about how it builds up within 30 minutes. We spent a lot of time down there on multiple occasions looking at that area with Pastor Robinson, with Chief of Staff Valley. And we see what you're talking about, and those culverts that are down there, they are clogged, some of them are disintegrated, et cetera. We looked at installing a larger pumping station. What was the effect of doing that? Implementing flood proofing for structures. And again, none of these are standalones. These are systems. They are designed to all work together. And then lastly, the relocation of residents. And I want to make a statement to make sure we're all on the same page. With any of these that I will be discussing, this is a community project, a community-led project. So the community will decide. We are providing the analysis, we've collected data to help guide those decisions. But at the end of the day, we'll be continuing to work with the community to arrive at a solution that you all buy into and that we move forward with. Okay. Okay, so for those of you that have located yourself in the Long Lake Bayou, Little B Bayou watershed, did you pick up this map? All right. So what you're seeing here is, if you look at your legend, the red represents proposed pipes, the green represents proposed channels, and the blue represents culverts. Now, I chose to put this up here for you tonight because this gives you a view of what it looks like as a system. And so we have some improvements here. That's, excuse me, over in the Porter Street area. We have, that goes all the way up, I believe that's Columbia Street. Downtown area, thank you. In your downtown area, you're seeing where we are suggesting proposed pipes. What that represents is a subsurface drainage system. So as opposed to these open ditches, we're proposing that we look at putting a subsurface drainage there. And that is for Helena inside the city limits. Can you get to this? Now, this is, what we did is we broke this map up into smaller pieces because it's kind of difficult to follow it. But here, again, we're talking about adding channels, and this is in the McDonough, Columbia area. You heard Keith talk about projects or the works of improvement. And so every time there's a separate section or a separate geographic area, that is technically a work of improvement. But I'm going to be talking to you about them holistically from our watershed. Go to the next. Thank you. Okay. Now this is out again by Helena Crossing area. And you can see we're recommending more culvert work, more subsurface drainage. Same area here along this state highway. You can go to the next one. Elaine. And do we have anyone here from Elaine? Okay. We've been talking with Mayor Gilbert and Elaine, and so Elaine has a lot of open ditches. We have recommended some subsurface drainage there in addition to widening and clearing those ditches. So what happens next? Well, we'll continue to go through the analysis process. What does that mean? That means getting a complete costing of these projects, working with the community to look at the benefits, because there's a cost benefit analysis, looking at all of the components that go into making an informed decision, and that includes environmental justice. So we're looking at these areas to arrive at what is called a sponsor preferred alternative. And so we will continue that work with Chief of Staff, Valley, the Mayor's Office, your City Council, your quorum courts, the county judge to arrive at that, and you as a community, the citizens. The next time we are before you, you will, and you heard me talk about this in May, you would have received what's called a notice of availability. What does that mean? That means you're getting a notification that the plan in its draft form has been completed. And at that time, we're looking for feedback from you. There's still an opportunity. If there are friends of yours, neighbors of yours that are being impacted by flooding that were not able to make this meeting, please encourage them to call us, email us. We have a hotline. We have an email that's dedicated to this project for you. Have them call. We'll continue to collect the feedback for as long as we are writing the plan. And so you'll have the chance to see that plan and to give additional comments after the draft is completed. Okay, thank you. You move forward. So this is the contact information. That is the hotline number if you want to call, and you can leave a recording there. You can upload information using our QR code. Right. At this time, I would like to open it up for questions. Yes. Let me walk to you so we can hear you. And will you state your name, please?
My name is Sean Foreman. You tell
What can we tell?
about our neighbors.
He would know, he was just saying that we hope our neighbors would also get involved, although we are the ones that's truly affected the most. We just hope that our neighbors would, they are also affected, but our area, I have gotten very discouraged and, I've spoken at the last one and I said, I pray that I don't have another flood, because if it is, it will probably be my last rodeo there, because, I'm getting old and it's very discouraging to continue having to refix the house and the water keeps coming and it's money being spent and it seems like it's just all for nothing. So I really do hope that this will come into fruition and it will, in our area, will benefit from it, because we really do need, it's not a lot of houses on that street, but we all, it's still important. So I'm not going to get discouraged. I'm going to keep coming to all of the meetings. It doesn't matter to me if I'm the only one sitting here from this city, because I am dedicated to seeing this work. I have faith in it, and I want to see everything that you all are talking about come into fruition, and especially for Helena-Cross. And it's just not for me, it's for the next generation. And I don't want it to be flooded out and just, so I'm just really discouraged right now, but it's gonna be okay, because I'm glad to know that that we had another meeting, because for a minute I thought that maybe they forgot about us again, but when I saw it on my phone, I said I was going to come, and I encourage others to come. So I'm just looking forward to see what ideas you all gonna come up with for Helena-Cross, and so that we can finally live in peace and stop spending all our money on fixing what the water damage has done, so.
Thank you for your comment. We have a lead consultant. Kenneth, I'm going to put you on the spot. Would you mind just making some comments about the emergency watershed program and how it fits into what we're doing, which is a longer range strategy?
I can make a comment, but that's a NRCS program, Emergency Watershed Protection. I don't really work with that program, but I know they have that program available there. But there are some other programs, and not just NRCS, there are some other agencies out there that may have some programs. I don't know, I don't know your area and stuff, but I don't know if you have flood insurance or insurance. And
They do, I don't know if my sister might have flood insurance.
okay, because if you have flood insurance and you get flooded out, they should have on that as well.
I have property insurance because I hope that I can keep it, and keep using it. But later you'll send me a letter saying, sorry, but you use that. Because we used it a great deal
Okay,
to replace items that were damaged.
okay. Well, I don't know what type of insurance you have, but usually with insurance, you paying your premium insurance, they should, when you have problems, they should be helping.
So.
Thank you. Do we have any other questions? Any other comments?
Well, seeing none here, if you we still be available after the session, if you want to come talk to us at the table or have any additional questions or comments, but I thank you guys for your time and just be on the lookout for when we come back in September. All right, you guys have a great evening.